Hi, everybody, and welcome to week one of Libra integration. We've talked in the beginning of Libra how Libra is all about harmonizing, right? It's taking different sets of relationships and harmonizing them to work together, right, into a peaceful coexistence and a mutually beneficial, sustainable life, right? And we also talked about how, sorry, the sun is like moving in. This was shady earlier. We also talked about how, in order to have that harmony, Libra especially has to be able to balance the other side of the chart, right? The other side of the sky and Aries, and be able to declare boundaries, be able to declare personal needs so that we are more capable of actually holding that harmony, right? So for our integration work, we're going to start with integrating personal relationships, and then integrating and harmonizing personal relationships, and then integrating and harmonizing different aspects of self. And then finally, working on harmonizing our relationship to the cosmic whole, right? So for our first week, what I want to do is because it's a lot easier to reflect on, let's look at the harmony of our personal relationships, right? And we could do this through journaling, just being mindful throughout the week on whether or not your relationships are balanced, right? When you're having interactions and you're feeling tugs, right? Either like, I want more of them, or they seem like they take a lot of energy, or they're just something pops up and you're like, this feels disharmonious. Record it. And then we can start to use some of the other techniques that we looked at throughout the rest of the year, right? We can look into like, okay, what is the emotional content arising from this? Putting to use some of that Cancer energy. We can put to use some of the Gemini energy and do word associations, right? If we're like, okay, things seem out of balance, they seem non-harmonious. I'm gonna move here, so you're not having to deal with the glare. They seem non-harmonious. Like, what are some things associated with this, right? And so we can name them, right? Name and say like, okay, this feels, I don't know, I'm trying to think. I'm really careful about my relationships nowadays. And so because I had massive codependency before, so I don't tend to be in that many in our non-harmonious relationships. But let's say like, okay, a scenario pops up. You're with a person. You're feeling your stress levels rise, and you just are exhausted after dealing with that person, right? So you can sit down, feel what's going on in your body afterwards, right? Name what's going on in your body. Like, I feel drained, or I feel tired, or I feel filled up, right? Like filled up with someone else's words, right? Or my mind feels like it's been taken up with other people's thoughts, whatever it is that you're experiencing. Or like, I can't get enough of that person, right? Like, I just had 6 hours with that person and I just want more, right? And it feels unbalanced because of that. We can sit there, name what's going on, right? And then use the tools that we worked in, and check out the Patreon site and YouTube. No, I think it's just on the Patreon site right now. Has all the Gemini tools. So you can name the thing and then do word associations with it, right? What are other things this is related to? What are childhood memories that come up around this, right? What is connected to these particular experiences and triggers, so that we can then work on reprogram them, or establishing like, okay, maybe as we brainstorm through this, that person's energy is just really intense and I can only handle a few hours of it. So that is where we then start to invoke the Aries energy to help us maintain harmony and be like, okay, so I can make plans with this person, but I have to be very careful to be like, hey, I only have 2 to 3 hours available, right? And then make sure that we go home after that, or we have something else established to go to. And the vice versa, if we're like, oh, I just need more of that, and we can notice maybe that it's addictive or obsessive, Sometimes if it's a new relationship and you're just really excited, like you're gonna just naturally feel that, and it's like it's good. It's like something new. That's its own cardinal energy, wanting to get to know the person. But if we find it to be codependent or obsessive, then we can also use that analysis, right, to figure out like, hey, what's kind of going on in the world inside. And we worked with exorcisms also in Gemini, and like allowing ourselves to release parts of our experience that don't serve us anymore. And so that can be some work that we do to release the obsession. So Libra in particular, because it is about harmonizing, she's going to want to draw up from the tools that we have practiced throughout the rest of the year and with the other signs and integrate it with the other signs. So I would definitely recommend, it's all free now. I opened it up on Patreon. I definitely recommend checking out, and I'll drop the link, checking out the other tools from the other signs. And what we work on is first the mindfulness for this, right? So we journal like, hey, where does things feel off? Then we sit with it. We can name it, and then we can start to put to use the rest of our tools to create a more harmonious environment in the future. And the thing is with this is like there will be pushback, right? Because the environments that we live in are used to us behaving a certain way. So if they're used to us like trying to maintain harmony by kind of giving in all the time, when we stand up for ourselves, they're going to be like, what the hell is that? Right? Like people are going to be like, when did that happen? And there will be some pushback, and there'll be some people who get upset. Most people will eventually learn, adapt, and change with you, right? They'll be like, oh, okay, I guess they aren't just a pushover anymore. Like I need to like shift this around. Some people won't, right? Like they will expect you. Yeah, thank you. They will expect you to act the way that you've always acted, and they will do a lot of pushback. And then that's sometimes the point where we have to like open up dialogue, like, hey, this doesn't work for me anymore. And if there isn't room for them to meet you halfway and that kind of Libra harmony of partnership, that tends to be when we need to cut people out. In the reverse, if we're very fixated on other people, and we are finding that maybe we are overbearing in our harmony in other relationships, when we pull back, other people might not be used to having to come and meet us halfway, right? So we might find that like relationships fluctuate a little bit. And that's all just because it's the scale, right? It's just like the body is constantly trying to find points of harmony and find points of homeostasis. And our environments are trying, and relationships are trying to find points of harmony and points of homeostasis. So whenever you shift something, like in the body, if you shift your nutrition, or you shift your sleep schedule, or you shift the chemicals you're putting into your body, like the body like gets thrown off for a little bit, and then it finds a new point of balance. It's the same exact thing with our relationships. When we're looking for better, healthier harmony, we sometimes have to take actions. There are a bunch of butterflies. They're just gorgeous flying around here, like giant. It's a giant butterfly. It's like the size of a sparrow. That is awesome. Anyway, when we try to create healthier sources of harmony in our lives, there tends to be some pushback. So we need to be ready for that and able to accept the fact that it's going to be a little bit uncomfortable, right? It's like, oh, well, okay, we're working with harmony. Like this should be a blissful experience at first, because many relationships don't have a true harmony. They have like little sacrifices and points of contention and points of compromise, but they're not harmoniously supporting each other. Because of this, there tends to be some discomfort when we actually actively work on creating a new sense of harmony. So, but it's work we need to do, right? Because it makes our lives a lot easier. It saves us a lot of energy, and that allows us to then go forward and create healthier harmony within ourselves and healthier harmony within our lives in the way that we interact with our environments, society, and the life that we're meant to live here and the things that we're meant to create, change, and transform here. So blessings on you and the work that you do, and blessings on integrating this Libra energy. And I will see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.